Okay, so this video isn't going to really have any great direction or whatnot. This is going to just sort of be my straight guy problems and complaints, uh, mostly related to like feminism and stuff like that. And I just want to start off and say that, like, if you live in like the United States like me, like, we don't understand. We don't have real problems, okay? Like, we don't live in a country where we have to like hunt down our food, or we starve, or walk several miles to get fresh water. You know what I mean? We don't have to worry about getting sick and dying from illnesses that are curable. Um, I mean, in reality, we don't have any real issues. If your biggest concern in life is whether or not you're going to get accepted into college, if that's your biggest concern, understand, you do not have problems, okay? You just don't. Your problems are fucking insignificant. They're fucking nothing, okay? Uh, and it kind of frustrates me a little bit when, like, I'm told that I have some kind of special privilege because I'm a straight white male. It just kind of bugs me a little bit because they don't really specify what privilege. You know, like, they don't really talk about it. They just kind of say, check your privilege. That's it. They don't explain. They don't specify, and I'm not even aware of it. And I'm 18 years old, been living for a while, and I'm unaware that I've had some great privilege. You think if I had a privilege, I'd be aware of it. You know, you think this would be very obvious to me, but it's not. So, just it just makes me think that they're just full of shit when they say it. So, because really, you're by saying that you're suggesting that there are things that I can do that you can't do. There are things that you're suggesting that there are things that I'm able to do because I'm a white male. There are things that you can't do because you're a female. And I just, like, give me one example of something that you can't do because you're a woman. A woman who lives in the United States, because I understand that there are other parts of the world where women really don't have any rights. They can't get an education, they can't choose who they marry. Um, and things are pretty bad for them in other parts of the world. They live in like America, for the most part, you know. I mean, if you live in America, just by that alone, in many regards, I'd have to say that makes you privileged, because you live in a country where you get to choose whether or not you get married. Um, you get an education. You can pick what you want to do for a career. You can adopt children, live on your own, be very independent, um, start your own business, own property, you know that type of shit. So I mean, I just don't really see how you just kind of skim over that shit. It just kind of bugs me. Um, let's see, what else? Also, in regards to privilege, I don't think a lot of people realize that privilege doesn't come from being white or being male. I know this is an insane idea. I know this is crazy, right? No. When you actually study history a little bit, you'll realize privilege comes from money, from wealth, alright? The rich. If you study history, you'll see that, it was always the rich people who were more educated, who could influence politics more, who could own land, who could start businesses, because they had money. So, if you want to be a privileged member of society, be rich. I say this because I know people who are white, and they are dirt poor, and I know they are not a privileged member of society. I know this. They're fucking dirt poor, that's why. So that kind of bugs me a little bit as well when I look at my friends, or some of my friends who I know are fucking dirt poor, and their parents are struggling just to make ends meet. So I mean, so that kind of grinds my gears a little bit. Let's see what else. Yeah, I mean, can't feminists just kind of admit that if you're, I mean, at this point, if your biggest complaint is like video games and portrayals in movies, if that's really your biggest complaint about discrimination and oppression, which mind you, how does that oppress you? How does a specific portrayal in a movie oppress you? I mean, doesn't that kind of make women look very weak? Like, okay, we're going to portray women a specific way in a movie, and somehow that oppresses women. I mean, doesn't it just make women look very, very weak? I mean, just doesn't it? I don't know, maybe I'm stupid, I don't know. Just a fucking suggestion. Let's see. See, what else can I say in regards to all this bullshit? I also find it kind of weird how there's some feminists who will say that you shouldn't talk about feminism or women's problems or whatever. But then sometimes they're the same people who will tell you to check your privilege. I just find that kind of weird. Like, I can't talk about your problems, but you can talk about my privilege. Privilege. I mean, can't you just see that I don't have a special privilege because I have a penis? Okay? Like, okay, I can stand up and pee. You got me there. You got me. Okay? That's really gonna leap me forward in the world. It's really gonna set me a few light years ahead of you in terms of success. Being able to stand up and pee. Yep. That's the thing that's gonna really bring me lots more success. I mean, can't we just admit at this point that feminism is just kind of stupid? At least in America. You know? It's just kind of silly and stupid. Can't we just admit? Like, there's not a rape culture in this country. Okay? Really, in America, where, like, being a rapist is viewed as, like, the worst thing ever. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't get how you can actually sit there and tell me that there is a rape culture in this country, when being viewed as a rapist is pretty much seen as, like, the most apprehensible thing ever. It just doesn't click, you know? Yeah, I guess when it comes to video games and feminism, don't you have to admit that if certain portrayals of women in video games, like, is something that keeps women out of video games, I mean, that doesn't make women look strong, okay? If you're saying that, okay, because a certain game franchise, or because a game was made a certain way and portrayed a woman in a certain way, and you're saying, like, that's the thing that's keeping women out of video games, I mean, that just sounds dumb to me. It just sounds really stupid. It's like, oh, you sexualized women, therefore you're excluding women or something. I don't know. It just sounds dumb to me. You know? Yeah. I told you this video had no actual direction. If you've watched this far, then thank you. Another thing that bugs me is when feminists talk about objectifying women. And sometimes they'll say that women are viewed as objects of desire. which I kind of don't see how that's like a bad thing, because when you really look at it, I mean, in this country, I don't really think women are viewed as objects inherently, overall, for the most part, because again, you get to choose who you want to marry. You basically get to self-determine, okay? Bottom line, you have the opportunity to choose what the fuck you want to do with your life. You know, you get to choose if you want to get married, if you want to go in the military, you get to choose your career, you get to go to college, you get to own your own house, you could start a business if you wanted to. You know what I mean? You have that capability. So really, women are not viewed as objects, they're not viewed as cattle, they're not viewed as sacks of meat, okay? They're just not, okay? And also, what's wrong with a man desiring a woman? I mean, they say that objectifying a woman is like is pretty bad. Like, no, you should never objectify a woman. But when you actually look at their definitions for objectification and, you know, the whole subject-object dichotomy, which is just dumb, because you can pretty much take it and apply it to everything. You know, subjects act and objects are acted upon. I mean, in that sense, I mean, that shit's happening all the time. You know, I'm acting with my iPod, I'm acting upon my laptop, and in relationships, I have to imagine that happens all the time, you know. You act upon your girlfriend acts upon you. So, I mean, it kind of goes back and forth. So, I mean, I just don't really see how that's a bad thing. And at some point in a relationship, you're going to act upon your partner, and your partner is going to act upon you. You see what I mean? So I don't really view that as like a bad thing, and I don't see how feminists can be honest and say that that is a bad thing. You know? I mean, for the most part, like, if a man wants to have sex with a woman, he's the one that has to go up, approach her, talk to her, initiate it, you know? And yeah, a woman could approach a man, initiate contact, but it usually just doesn't happen that way. And this is also kind of where the slut-stud dichotomy comes from, because when you really think about it, most women can pretty much approach like almost any man, as long as like she's reasonably attractive. You know, a woman go up to almost any man and have sex with that man for the most part. You know, I think most of us could probably agree upon that. But not every man can approach any woman and just have sex with her. Okay? That's just not the case. I remember there was this, I guess it was an Asian proverb or something, so I don't know who said it, I just heard it somewhere, but this saying is a key that could open any door would be a very special key, would it not? Yes. If you had a key that can open any door, that would be a very special key. But then what's the reverse? Okay, you have a door that can be opened by any key. That's not a very special door, is it? No, 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 no. In this sense, you know, the key obviously represents penis, and the door obviously represents vagina. So, that's kind of a good explanation. But when you go into, like, slut shaming and stuff like that, I mean, I have to say that's probably taking the whole slut thing a little too far, you know? I don't really view slut as like a negative term, but I think it can be used negatively, especially if you're using it to actually shame a woman, which I think is wrong. But if you're just using it generally, because I know there are women out there who do refer to themselves as sluts, so obviously inherently it's not that bad of a word. I mean, come on. But yeah, I think, you know, shaming a woman for her sexuality is just kind of I mean, yeah, it's wrong, but it's also stupid. You know, it's just dumb. Okay? It just is. And can't we just admit that, like, people who slut shame are just, like, retards? Like, they're just really stupid people. And it's not something indicative of our entire society, even though it probably is. But can't we just admit those people are just really, 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 really stupid? Okay? And if we make fun of them for being really, really stupid, eventually it'll just go away. Can't we just admit that? So, I hope this video made sense. I just had to sort of get this stuff off my chest. You know, I'm not a very aggressive guy. I'm pretty chilled out. If you hadn't tell, I don't smoke weed. Yeah, if you enjoyed this video, give it a like, share it with your friends. You know, if you like, even if you hated the video, share it with your friends. Say, hey, look at this idiot. And yeah, so, and give me a comment down below and tell me what you think about some of the stuff I talked about and what you think about feminism and what it's become. And again, can't just feminists admit to me that, like, we don't really have real problems? Okay, we live in the land of opportunity. You know, like, we have it good. Okay, we have it really fucking good. Okay, I just don't get it. How women can really just sit here and just say they have all these fucking problems and shit. It's just, I mean, yeah, you have some problems, but you don't, it's just, okay, I'm going off again, so, like this video, subscribe for more, and don't hate me.